So, hello everyone. Nice to meet all of you virtually today. Let me introduce myself. I'm Bas Chong from Microsoft, and actually, I'm the business group lead of business application. Today, I'm going to introduce Power Apps to all of you, in which Power Apps is actually our Microsoft low-code application development platform. I wish you can well leverage Power Apps and help you to win in the upcoming hackathon competition. Okay, so right now, let me walk you through the agenda of today's session. Let me pull up the screen, my slide first. Give me a second. Okay. All right. So this is the agenda of today's session. I'm going to give you, first of all, some background about the local development platform. Then I'll start to introduce Power Apps and talk about the features that you need to know if you would like to use Power Apps for your competition. And I'll also walk you through some real life use case such that you can have more ideas about how you can better leverage Power Apps. And after my sessions of introducing Power Apps, I'm very happy to have Mary, my technical specialist, to do a quick demo on Power Apps for all of you. I trust you will learn a lot in today's session. Okay, so without further ado, let us start. So first of all, I would love to give you a little bit background about the low-code application development platform. As you may know, the low-code application platform is getting more and more popular right now. But actually, why? It's simply because more and more companies are moving to the cloud, and even for some small businesses, they are taking part in the digital transformation. With this, over the next 5 years, we're expecting there are more than 500 millions of applications that will be needed to develop and deploy. However, what does this 500 million means? It is actually more than all the apps we have built in the last 40 years. So as you can see, the challenge is definitely is that we do not have enough IT resources. To be specific, it is actually the developers to cover this huge demand of applications. So this is where low-code applications development platform comes into the picture. With local development application development platform, it means that you can develop an apps easily without much coding skills. So right now, you don't have to be a professional developer in order to build an app. Everyone, including you and me, we can be an app developer and develop an app in a very short period of time and easily. So right now, with the low-code application development platform, no matter organizations or even students or teachers or anyone, they can accelerate the app building processes and accelerate also the front end and the business process development to meet the business demand. And most importantly, we can hugely reduce the application development cost because for a lot of the organizations, they might need a big IT team to build up their apps. So with the low-code application development platform, we're really helping a lot of the organizations to meet their business demand faster and reduce a lot of their costs. So I don't go too much into the background, but I just wish to give you some information about why there are the low-code application development platform in this world. So in Microsoft, our low-code platform is called Power Platform. But actually, there are four core products or items in Power Platform, which is Power BI, Power Apps, Power Automate, and Power Virtual Agent. So all these four core products, they work and connect together, and also they work very well with Office 365, Azure, and also Dynamics 365, so as to become an end-to-end business application. So today I'm not going to introduce all four products to you in deep, but I also would love to give you a little bit context about these four products. So in case you would love to leverage not only Power Apps, you can also check out other products. So in Power Platform, we have the first one, which is Power BI. Power BI is a tool for you to do data analytics via dashboards and reports. So if you would love to do some data visualization, build up a beautiful report easily with without coding, you can try out Power BI. And then the second one is Power Apps, in which I will elaborate more in details later on. So Power Apps is the low-code platform that you can build an app easily. And the next one is Power Automate. We use Power Automate to automate the business workflow, and you can also enable like business logics and to simplify the whole app building. So whenever you need to have workflow, business logic to automate in your applications, then you will need Power Automate. And the last but not least is Power Virtual Agents, which is a tool that can help you to easily create and publish an AI-driven chatbot. So again, if you're looking for chatbot, you don't want to build everything from scratch, then you can start with Power Virtual Agents. Okay, so I hope I can give you more background information about Power Platform. So right now, let me dive into Power Apps. But before I really talk about Power Apps, I would love to show you a video.
I'm Zenobia. And I'm Zara. We both are 10 years old. We study in grade 5, Middleton International School. During the COVID 19 lockdown, our father used to work from home and he used to talk a lot about Power Platform and he used to say it was very easy. So we were like, if it's so easy, then why can't we try doing it? When we started learning programming, we used to experience other applications made by other people. And we used to think, why not make our own application? And that really got us started. It's drag and drop, it's low code, no code, so it's very easy to turn our ideas into reality within a matter of few hours or days. Pretty much everybody can learn to use it. All you need to know is a bit of Office, such as PowerPoint and Excel, and you can get started with your Power Platform. My favorite app is the book recording app because it helps me to give my own rating and tell what I dislike and like about it. My favorite app would be the allergies app. I have recently made this app for my friend with peanut allergies. So I decided to help her out and create an app to find out what brands she could eat from and what brands she could. When we're not working on Power Apps or Power Platform, we usually like to do outdoor activities, and when we're not doing that, we usually like to annoy our sister. Imagine a 10-year-old creating an app that uses a scan function and uses an API to retrieve information just all over the weekend. Power Apps does allow you to make better apps. We want to inspire girls of our age and take up confidence that if these twins can learn Power Platform, use AI, and build mobile apps, then why can't they? We hope to contribute to improving girls' education and inspiring more girls to take up roles in tech.
I really love this video because I think it's a very simple story. I hope you can feel the power of Power Apps, in which it can enable just a 10-year-old twins to turn their idea into real apps. So if they can do so, I trust all of you can be an app developer and can build an app by yourself using Power Apps. Okay, so right now let me deep dive a little bit more into Power Apps. And today I don't have much time, so I would like to highlight 4 key features or the characteristics of Power Apps to introduce to you. Okay, so first of all, let me start with the types of apps. Actually, there are 3 types of apps to be built in Power Apps. When we're talking about application development, we do have Canvas app, model-driven apps, and also portals in Power Apps. So let me walk you through one by one. So the first one is Canvas app. Canvas app actually allows you to design and build an app from a canvas without writing code like the traditional programming language such as C++, C#. You will be just like designing a slide on PowerPoint when you're using a Canvas app. So I think it's very easy for you to understand. It's really like a canvas, and you can just build up a very beautiful UI and all the buttons, all the design of the apps that you would love to build. So it got an extremely fine-grained UI when using all the controls and expression in Canvas app. And the second one is the model-driven app, in which it allows you to quickly build up applications using forms, views, and dashboards with rich declarative tools for definition of business processes flow and validation of rules. So it is mostly used by some very complex business models, data model, or the business processes. That's what we so-call the model-driven apps. It start everything with data. And the last but not least is portals. So portals allows external use scenarios like the customer self-service portals that require external or anonymous access. So that's why I think among the three different apps, if you would like to build your own apps for the hackathon competition, definitely Canvas apps will be the most easier one and the most suitable one for you to start with. So this is the first thing that I would love to introduce about Power Apps is the types of apps. So the second one is about why Power Apps is so easy to use. Just now we mentioned even the 10 years old twins, they can build up their apps. So why Power Apps is so easy to use? So in Power Apps, you can very easily to design your app by just drag and drop the elements on a canvas using the visual designer, just as you would design a slide in PowerPoint. And apart from that, most of the time you need to write the app logic. So you don't have to write code, as I mentioned earlier. So you can just create some Excel-like expressions for specifying the logic and working together with your data. Apart from that, you can also share your app so that different users, they can run it in a browser or on the mobile devices. And you can also embed your app and run them on SharePoint, on Power BI, or on Teams. So with all this, we make the creation of the app in a very easy way. Just you would like using a PowerPoint or an Excel. I believe most of you have the experience in using a PowerPoint and Excel. So that's why I trust all of you can be an app developer by using Power Apps. And also, most of the time when you're building up an app, you will need to integrate with other like database or other system. So in Power Apps, we make it easily to connect with your existing data with over 270 plus pre-built connectors. So we also have some built-in common data services. So as you can imagine, no matter it's talking about like the Azure, Blob Storage, Azure Data Factory, or Adobe, or DocuSign, Dropbox, or even like the AWS Redshift, we have all the connectors ready for you to use. So it makes the developers or everyone easily to connect their apps with any other third-party solutions or other databases. All right, so I hope this gives you more details about what Power Apps can do. The next thing I want to introduce is about the database. So I want to highlight in Power Apps is that we do have Dataverse. Dataverse is what we previously so-called the common data services. In Power Apps, no matter what kind of types of applications you're building, no matter it's a Canvas app, model-driven apps, or even a portal, you will have the option to use Dataverse. So what is Dataverse? It's actually the out-of-the-box database for your apps. Why it is so easy to use? Because it is a fully managed and secure database in which all the Microsoft data from Dynamics 365, Azure, or Office 365, they can be pre-populated in Dataverse. So imagine right now you don't have to set up a database on your own when you're building your apps. You can use this out-of-the-box data storage in Power Apps to store and manage your data. What I want to highlight is that usually the data in Dataverse, they stored within a set of tables. And in Dataverse, we already include a base set of standard tables for some typical scenario. But of course, you can also create your custom tables that specifies for your own case and populate them with the data by using Power Query. So this will hugely increase your effectiveness when you're building up your apps because we already have some standard tables available for you to use. But of course, data first is just one option for your data when working with Power Apps. But it comes with an amazing set of features for you to manage your data securely and apply business logics and rules without writing codes. So definitely you can use your own type of database if you want, but definitely I would recommend you to use Dataverse because it's so easy and so secure to use when you're building up your apps. So in Dataverse, I mentioned a little bit on the security side. They have a very rich security model to protect the data integrity and privacy for the users while promoting efficient data access and collaboration. So with all this, I hope you can also try out Dataverse when you're building up your app. And the last highlight of Power Apps, it's AI Builder. So, when talking about AI, you may think about, oh, I'm not, the data scientist and AI is too difficult for me. But in AI Builder, it's all about bringing AI solution to more developers and to everyone. With the AI Builder, you can train up your AI model and you can consume the AI model for different scenarios such as object detection, some form processing, text classification, or data prediction. So all these, we already have some pre-built data model. So you can just train the model and consume the AI model instantly within your apps. And everything in the AI Builder, it's very low code. You don't have to be a AI expert or the data scientist in order to train and build up your AI model. So that's why with AI Builder, I always said everyone can be a data scientist and you can always have AI embedded in your apps. So if you want to add intelligence to the app that you built, definitely you'll need to check out AI Builder. Okay, so the four things, the types of apps, data first, how easy to use of Power Apps, and also AI Builder. This is the four key highlights that I would like you to remember after this session. And of course, I don't have a lot of time to run through all of them in details, but of course later on in Mary's session, she's going to show you how you can build up a Canvas app by doing a very quick demo to all of you. So if you would like to check this out, you can just Google all this, and later on I'll also mention some links where you can check out all the details. Okay, so just now I've quickly run through the four key highlights of Power Apps. Let us switch the gear a little bit and talk about some real life use case of Power Apps. So the first one is City of Kobe. This is a place in Japan. I would love to go, but unfortunately we cannot travel now. So the use case is that because of the COVID-19 situation, the Japanese government, they announced a special cash payment program that allowed every citizen they can apply for a subsidy. So the citizen, they could apply for the cash subsidy either through like mailing the paper application form, or they can use the government website. However, the challenge is that there was no system to track the application status once the citizen they had submitted the application. So that's why the government, the city officials, they were facing a high volume of increasing phone calls. They're receiving over 40,000 of calls a day because everyone want to call to the office and check their status of applications. So in view of this situation and to overcome this problem, the government, they built up a website using Power Apps portal where citizens can quickly check the status of their applications on their own. But the city government, they just use Power Platform and built up that app or that website in a very short period of time, less than 2 months. So right now with this app, they can reduce the number of calls to their call center by 90% from what I just mentioned is the 40,000 calls a day to just 3,000 calls a day. So this is a very simple use case, but they are really creating a very big impact to the citizens and to the government. They just built up an app with few weeks and really deployed to all the citizens in city of Kobe. Here's another example of Power Apps, which is the Tacoma Public School. I want to try to find some use cases that you can resonate with. So that's why I try to find is there any use case for school. So Tacoma is a public school in the US. Their situation is that they have a assistant principal from Tacoma Public School, Lauren. So Lauren is actually an educator without a formal IT background. But she can build a Power App, Power App leveraging in Power Platform solutions to improve the reading assessment process for the students. So the challenge is that the school needs a digital solution to record and organize the detailed information about how the students their reading levels, so that they could better assist the individual students. So Lauren, she used Power Apps and she really does, she do everything by herself. She self-learned all the how to use and build up Power Apps on website, on the internet, and then she built up an app for teachers systematically to observe, record, and evaluate how a student's reading performance changes over the time. So right now, the teachers, they can use the app to set the reading goals for the students to focus on. And this solutions created is just being used at one school right now, but potentially it can go district-wide in the future. So as you can see, not only a developer, but everyone, even a teacher, they can be a citizen developer, they can be an app developer and build up their app by turning their ideas into a real life application. Okay, so I have been talking for a while, and I trust all of you would love to check out the demo and let Mary to show you how you can build an app easily. But before we jump to Mary's sessions, I would love to introduce the resources for you if you would love to learn more. So if you just go onto our YouTube channel and search for Microsoft Power Apps, you will know that we have a very good Microsoft Power Apps YouTube channel in which we have all sort of the videos. We have a lot of tutorials teaching you how to set up your own database, set up the Dataverse, how you can build your app using no matter it's model-driven apps, portals, or Canvas app. So you can easily to just go up to the YouTube channel and search for the videos for you to learn in how you can use Power App. And other places where you can check out more on Power Apps is Microsoft Learn. Just Google it, Microsoft Learn, then you will search this website. So Microsoft Learn is an official learning platform for students, for everyone, for enterprise, the people from enterprises, they can just go up into Microsoft Learn and check out. So there are many different modules on Power Apps, from a very fundamental one to a more advanced one. So you can learn step by step on how you can use Power Apps and also Power Platform. So it's not only Power Apps, like Power Virtual Agent, Power BI, and Power Automate. You can find all this information from Microsoft Learn. So I hope you can have all the resources that you need to build up your apps for your hackathon. Okay, so right now I'll pass the time to Mary, in which she will walk you through and do a demo on how you can build an app quickly on Power Apps. Okay, so I'll pass the time to you, Mary.
In this session, I'll walk you through the steps to create your first Power Apps, including how we can navigate the app creation portal, how we can connect the application with different data sources, and some of the common application features, such as navigating between different screens, or displaying or even filtering data on the application. Just a recap of what the Power Platform is. It is our low-code, no-code development tool. There are 4 key components that we can potentially leverage and integrate into our solution. The Power App is the mobile or web application part. This controls our user interface and what the user is going to interact with. In a typical application, we have the user interface, a logic layer, and also a database where we can surface the information from. Whilst Power Apps can support a bit of the logic and calculation on the front end, Very often, we also have to integrate Power Automate workflow for more advanced logics and processing. So for example, when a user clicks a button on the application, we might want to immediately trigger a workflow to notify our staff or to send out emails. Now, another key part is the data. Where are we going to surface our data from? In this case, we have two options here. We can either use the data connector to help us integrate with sources like Excel Sheet, SQL Server, or other systems. There are currently over 450 plus connectors that will help us connect to different systems. Another way is to create table directly from the Power Platform database, which is called the Dataverse. We can define the different data schemas, rules, process flows on top of these data, and these can be directly integrated into our application. There are actually other components like the AI Builder, which lets us infuse AI capability within our workflow and our Power Apps. For example, you could have a form processing model that is embedded within your application. Now, talking about the Power Apps, there are three types of applications that we can potentially build, but for the purpose of this demonstration, we are only going to focus on the Canvas app. But just for a short introduction for your information, the Canvas app always starts with the user experience, so you can drag and drop any of the components, such as buttons, forms, photos, into the application wherever you want. Since it's pixel perfect, it's very customizable. On top of that, you can mash up data from more than 450 plus data sources directly using the data connectors. On the right, we have the model-driven apps and also the Power Apps portal. These two applications have to leverage the Dataverse database. You can leverage the data model, relationship, business processes that you build on top of the Dataverse and embed that into the application. Portal is a special type of application that is also available for external users to use. And they will be able to update the Dataverse data or to view the data securely. Before I jump to the hand-on session, I do want to show you a very quick video of how easy it is to create a Canvas application. So this time we'll be creating a manual ordering app. First of all, you can see how we can actually change the text, the logo that is being displayed on the application. We can do that via a drag and drop actions. This experience is very similar to how we create a PowerPoint. So for example, if we want to drag the logo up, and next, we might want to tie that application to a particular data source. So here I'm selecting a particular Excel spreadsheet with different tables on. And here I'm selecting the table, and then I can drag in a gallery and specify the fields, the data that I want to show. For example, I want to show the image, I want to show the menu item, I want to show the price of the item. So this can be done by changing the formula on top. Now, if I want to add specific buttons into the application, again, I can easily drag that in, change the name of it, change what is being displayed, change the color of it as well. Now the layout is pretty much done, and we can save the application. Now for an advanced feature, we might want to integrate a workflow. So we just have to invoke a few clicks, and then from the Power App button, we can actually send out emails. And these sort of emails, we can have a specified template tied to it. So for example, we might want to include the price of the item name, etc. And now we can see the application, fully functional one. For example, if I order an item, then I will immediately get an email saying that a new item has been received. Let's try to create the application together. Now, the first thing we need to do is to navigate to make.powerapps.com and log in with your email's credentials. So this website is essentially where we will be creating the application and where you'll see all of the applications that you have created. Now immediately you will see on the left a navigation bar. So you can see that there's a home page, there's a learning page where you'll see all of the learning resources. Apps is where you'll see all of the applications that you have created. Now, if you cannot find the applications that you have created, there's a chance that you might have saved it into a different environment. So on the right, you can see that you can actually change to a different app creation environment. Now, if we want to start to create an application, there are a few ways for us to do. So if you remember, there are 3 types of applications that we can create from blank, either the Canvas app, model-driven app, or the portal. Or another way for us to create an application is to start from the data. So for example, if you already have an Excel spreadsheet or a SharePoint list, then you can immediately tie this application to a specific data source. The third way of creating an application is to start from a template. So there are already pre-built layouts that you can use when you create an application. So for example, we have an application for onboarding tasks. We have application for site inspection, for service desk, etc. So just bear in mind that we are actually selecting a template that says Canvas app rather than the model-driven app or the portal. Now let's try to create an application from blank. I can go ahead and click onto Canvas app from blank. So once I click onto that, I have to fill in an application name. So for the demo purpose, I'm going to say test app. And then I can select the format of the application, whether it's a tablet format or a phone format. And then I can go ahead and click create. So once everything is loaded, you will see that there will be a canvas in the middle. So this is where we can drag all of our components into, for example, a button, a form. On the left, you see a tree view of screens and components. So let me just go through the different tabs here. The add button here, it's going to show you the different components that you can insert, whether it's a button, it's a date picker. And here, you can actually add in the different data into your application. If we go further down, you can see that there are places where we can upload images, video, or even audio files to use in the application. And the last part is the advanced tools for monitoring and testing. Another way for us to change the configuration of the application is actually from the top navigation bar. You can see that in the Insert tab, I can drag in the different components. You can again see the different text input, the different inputs that we have, radio button, toggle button. Or we can drag in a gallery to display a list view of data, the different icons, and potentially we can integrate an AI model into our app as well. So let's say we want to change the layout of the screen, right? If we want to change the background, we can just do it on the right-hand side. So you can see that if I want to have an orange background or light purple one, or if I have an image file that I want to upload, I can do that as well. Let's say now I want to drag in a text label to display the name of the application. Then I can easily do that by clicking to the label button. And then you can see that this is already dragged into the application. Now I can change the position of it by dragging it and dropping it to somewhere I want. If I want to change the layout of the text that is being displayed, I can do that on the right, where you can see the property panel. Or I can do that on top. So you can see that there are different properties that you can potentially change. And here it's the formula. So what you see on the top bar here actually translates to what you see on the right here as well. So for example, this text is actually text right now, and you can see that this is the same. So let's say I want to change the text to test app. And for example, if I want to change the font size to a bigger font and the font weight as well. Now let me just position it to the center of the application. I can change the text alignment. Now hopefully you get the idea of how we can actually change the layout of the application. Now let's say I want to add another screen to my application. I can easily do that by either clicking the new screen button here. And you can see that there are already a few layouts that I can choose from, whether it's a scrollable page, whether it's a success page, a tutorial page. For this purpose, I'm just going to choose a blank page. So you can see that immediately there will be a screen 2 that is being created. So let's say I want to switch from screen 1 to screen 2. Let's say I'm going to put a button into the middle where when a user clicks onto it, we are going to navigate to screen 2. So here I'm just going to drag a button into my application. And then we are going to change the name, the text on the button to next page. And if you want to test the application directly, you can click the preview button here. But now you can see that the button isn't doing anything. And that's because we haven't set the formula yet. So to change the property of the button when we click onto it, we have to search for a property called onSelect. And here we'll type in the formula, navigate. You can see that as I type, there will already be suggestion popping up in the drop down. So I can just select that. And then you can see that I can navigate to a target page. So I'm going to navigate to screen 2. So the way you name the components of the application is very important because all of the formulas is going to reference the name that you give to the component. So here I will type in screen 2. So again, you can see that as I start typing, there will be suggestion popping up in the drop down. So I'm just going to go ahead and select that. And remember, you have to close the bracket. So here, if I click to preview the application again, now if I click the button, it's going to bring me back to the next page. You should always save your application when you can. So to save the application, we are going to click to File, and then we can choose Save As, and then you can give your application a particular name, and then click Save. Then it will automatically be saved onto cloud. So once this application is saved, we can go ahead and add in more features to the application. One of the examples is to display data we have from an Excel spreadsheet. So here I have already defined a particular Excel. You can see that there are two tabs here, one for displaying devices information, another for displaying manufacturer information. You can see that these Excel tables have been formulated as a table. So please note that if you have created a new Excel spreadsheet, you always have to click to format the cells into a table. So here you can just go ahead and select a particular table type, and it's going to ask you where is the data for your table and whether or not your table has header. And then you can go ahead and click Create. So this is what we call a table. Please note that the Power App has to work with table, So if you haven't formulated your Excel spreadsheet into particular tables, you're not going to see this information. So I'm just going to delete this since I already have the two tables that I need. So you can see that within the device table, I have information such as the device ID, manufacturer ID, the name of the device, and also a photo where I'm actually tying this to an online resource. So let's say I want to display this information on my application. A very good component to use is the gallery, which is a layout container that holds the record from a particular data source. So I'm just going to go ahead and select horizontal. So you can see that there are different types of layout of the galleries. So here I'm just going to choose the horizontal one. So as I click onto it, you can see that it will ask me to choose a data source. So I can either choose the Dataverse table, or I can leverage any of the connectors. So there are currently over 450 connectors that I can use. I'm just going to import from Excel. So this will be a static data. So as I click onto it, it's going to have a pop-up box which asks me to select a particular Excel table. So I'm just going to go ahead and search my Excel spreadsheet. Once I select the Excel spreadsheet, it's going to display the two tables that I have. So this is why we definitely have to formulate these cells into different tables. So let's say I want to add in the device's information first, and then I can go ahead and click connect. Once I do that, you can immediately see that the images, the name of the device is going to be visualized already. So you can see that this particular item is referencing to the photo field of the Excel spreadsheet. So if I go back into the Excel, you can see that this column is called photo. So this is referencing the photo column of the Excel spreadsheet. And here, this is referencing the device name column. So if I go back, you can see that there is a column called the device name. So if I want to edit the gallery, you can see that there's a pencil icon here. So I have to click onto it to edit the gallery. So let's say I'm changing the photo size a bit. You can see that all the changes that I do here on this particular item is going to populate to all of the items. And let's say I want to display the price of the item as well. I can just drag in a text label. From there, I can drag in place. And here it's displaying the this item.manufacturer name column. So I'm just going to change it so that I can display the price. So I can start by typing price. And you can see that it will already have all of the information for me to select. So I'm just going to click price. Let's say I want to formulate the text. I can actually add in a double quote and say, perhaps I want to add in a price tag. And you can see that currently there is a red underline underneath this item.price. This is saying that the formula has some error, so we definitely have to check what is wrong with the error. So the reason why we are seeing this error is that we actually have to add an and button to connect the different strings. So we have the $sign and also the this item.price variable displayed. So here you can see that once I fix this error, this is fine. Let's say I want to invoke a particular workflow to notify my staff when a user clicks onto a particular item and select an item. Now what I can do is to click onto the gallery item first on the left. So this is always easier for us to reference the item. You can also change the name of the item so that it's easier for you to reference. So I have the gallery one here. Now I'm going to go ahead and click Edit Gallery. And next, I am going to add in a button. And you can see that once I add a button, there are a few buttons that get populated for each individual item in the gallery. So I'm going to go ahead and change the text to order. Now once I change it, perhaps I want to specify a formula such that when a user clicks onto this order button, we are going to invoke a workflow. So here I'm going to select the button, click onto the first one here, or you can click onto the button 3 here. And then I'm going to go to action. And here, the last item that you see will be Power Automate. So you can go ahead and click onto that. And if you haven't already created a flow, then you can click to create a new flow. So I'm just going to click create a new flow. And then you can see that I will immediately be directed to the Power Automate website. So I'll be landed to a browse template site where there will be a bunch of Power Automate workflow templates that I can leverage. So here I'm just going to use the fourth one here. So click a button in Power Apps to send an email. So once I do that, if you haven't already created a connection before, you might have to add in an extra step to add a new connection to use that particular workflow. So once you do that, you can click Create. And if you want to edit it, you can click Edit in Advanced mode. So here you can see that when I click onto it, there are 3 purple buttons, right? So the first box here is going to be the trigger action. So here, the trigger step of our workflow is actually a Power App button. And when we expand the send an email action, you can see that there are 3 fields that we can use. One of them is called the send an email to, send an email subject, and also the send an email body. So these are essentially the parameters that we have to pass into the workflow. If we want to add in extra steps from the to the workflow, we can click Add, and then we can choose the different operations. There is also a search button for you to use to select the different connectors. So we mentioned there are more than 450 connectors, and you can see that these are all of the available actions that we have, whether it's posting a Teams message or sending an email via the O365 Outlook connector. So I'm just going to cancel it. If we follow this template 100%, then there are 3 parameters that we have to pass in, including who this email is being sent to, what is the subject, and also the body of the email. It's possible that we might not want to follow this template 100%, so we can actually edit the information. For example, we can delete the component that it has, and perhaps we have a designated user email address that we want to pass in, then we can just type into here. So I'm just going to click Save for now. And to add that workflow back into our application, we just have to navigate back into the application page, and you can immediately see that there are available flows from this environment. So I can go ahead and click this. So once I add this to my Power App, you can see that it might take a bit of time. You can see that following the run sign, there are 3 parameters that we have to pass in. So you can see that within the bracket, we have the send an email to, comma, send an email subject, comma, and send an email body. So there are 3 parameters and they are separated by the comma. So here, for example, I am typing in the email address. So let's say I'm putting in my email address in. And then the subject of the email would be a new item has arrived or a new order. So if we are formulating any of the text, you always have to put a double quote to wrap around the text that you're typing. And for example, for the email body, we want to pass in information such as the item name. So in this case, we can do this item dot device name. And if we want to formulate the text, right, we can do n. And then if we want to type in other text, we can do the double quote again. So always remember to close the brackets to finish off the formula. Now let's see what happens when we do this. I'm going to click preview and I'm going to click the button. Now you can see that immediately it's triggering some sort of workflow. If I go into my mailbox, this is what I'm going to see. You can see that the title of the email and also the body of it have already been formulated to what we specify. Hopefully we have given you a good insight into what the Power Platform is and you're ready to kickstart your app creation process. If you're new to the platform or whether you already have some experience, there are a lot of learning resources online that will be suitable for you. If you're new to the platform in particular, I would definitely recommend the training labs, especially the app in a day. So the workshop that I've just shown to you is actually a part of the app in a day workshop. So this will provide you with a more guided, more detailed journey. Apart from that, we also have different YouTube channels which have different tutorials in it as well.
Thanks again for the demo and the introduction that Mary have done. I trust all of you will have a better understanding about Power Apps and hope you'll be excited and want to try it out. I trust it will be very useful for you to win in your competition. So good luck and go, go, go. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.